All right, thanks for joining me again. This is the second attempt now that I'm making at leaving the Golden Dawn Tabernacle and message. So if you're following along, we're picking it up right where we left off. Around this time, July of '96, the church started requiring more time to be spent at the church. We already had services, 2 on Sunday and 1 on Wednesday, but now in addition, we needed to go to prayer meeting on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Now mind you, there was no service on those days. It was just opened up around 7 p.m. for everyone to go pray. Now, sometimes you would leave the church very late because it was essentially just a public display of prayer, which always kind of shocked me because the Bible is very specific about praying in private. So anyways, doesn't have to make sense, right? It's what they wanted. Also around this time, my job kind of had an increase in mandatory OT. So it wouldn't be uncommon for me to have to go straight from work to prayer meeting. So I used as an excuse, to tell my parents to go ahead, go on without me, I'll be there shortly. All day, my stomach felt sick. I couldn't eat. I could barely focus on the work I was doing, but I needed to get this done. So as soon as work let out, I rushed home. I knew my parents weren't home, and I spent the next 10 minutes just in a whirlwind. I grabbed all of my clothes, my instruments, and I tossed them in the back of my truck. I literally ran because I was afraid someone would see me because I was trying to leave and they would stop me. I realized I was mentally weak. The church knew what to say to me, to get me to stay. So I needed to make a clean getaway where I can really start to kind of zoom out and see what the church was for real. So I got in my truck and I sat there for probably only a minute or two, but it was a lifetime. This was it. I knew from that moment on I would never see my parents or my sister ever again, because the family in the church stays in the church. And that went for my dogs too, which I was very close to them, by the way, too. I was shaking. I had nowhere to go. I didn't know where my family was, even the ones in Tucson. I must have gone back and forth a dozen times in my head before I finally pulled the emergency brake and just let the truck roll back. And then things got really hard.